Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Only Football. I'm Rick. We're brought to you by Star 6 Media. Kyle and I have got a great episode. We are going to go over the NFL Divisional Playoff Weekend, give our predictions. We're going to talk about who has the best home field advantage, and we're going to let you know what team is going to win if they do blank. Let's get it.
Woo! The best week of football the whole entire year is here. Do you agree?
No.
Divisional round, best round. Yay or
No.
nay? No.
Nay.
Okay.
Conference.
Well, we'll just put that into the Chiefs being the king of the NFL debate.
You're damn right.
Well-
You're goddamn right.
So, obviously, we got Jags and Chiefs, Niners and Cowboys, Eagles and Giants, and we got the Niners and Cowboys. Did I say that one twice? The Bills and Bengals. We're going to go over all of them. We're going to go in chronological order, starting with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I say the Jacksonville Jaguars because the Chiefs, it's no surprise that they're still alive at this point in the season, but the Jaguars, surprising, I would say.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, after you win a game the way you did and what fashion you did against the Chargers, it's like it is surprising, but it's also like, man, they deserve to be here after that kind of comeback, right? I mean, you think of what happened in the regular season with the who was it? The Vikings who came back from 33-0 in halftime against the Colts. The Jags did it in the playoffs. Like I feel like that's even more impressive for them to be here.
Yeah, I agree. And this game being in Arrowhead is going to be no easy feat. Trevor Lawrence said they asked him about the crowd noise in Arrowhead, and he said, I have a hard time believing it's going to be any louder than it was in Jacksonville and Duval. And to that, I say it's a young guy trying to have confidence, but he's wrong. He's wrong. I mean, you're going into an area that is going to average over 100 decibels. Duval's not that loud compared to Arrowhead. If you look at the aerodynamics of how they built Arrowhead, it's actually built so that sound continues to echo off walls and force it to be louder. So Arrowhead is one of the loudest stadiums. They go back and forth with Seattle, whatever. Mm-hmm. So about this game, how do you want to do this? How do you want to play this? Do we just go, I could tell you who I think will win, or I could give you the long drawn out analytics and finish with who I have winning?
I always want you to finish. So let's make love here and go with the analytical route. Let's go with the long drawn out eye to eye this entire time.
Now it's weird. All right. So
let's go that route.
The Chiefs have been, I would say, pretty good all season. They're 14-3.
Would say.
Yeah, I would say. Now, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback in the world, and that is something that you can't really argue. I mean, I know that he's still young and hasn't really proven a long track history of doing things like Tom Brady has, but I feel like he's on a trajectory to do that unless something, major happens. And there's also that small possibility that we don't really talk about this, that he hasn't even hit his peak yet. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's something scary to consider, but
I know,
Jacksonville coming into Kansas City. Well, how can Jacksonville make the game competitive? I won't even go as far as winning it. How do they stay competitive in a game with Kansas City? Well, let's look at their defense. Okay. So Josh Allen, Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, their first overall pick out of Georgia, who was hyperactive player that they thought is going to need a little bit of nurturing in order to be an effective pass rusher, but just too much talent, sheer talent to pass up on. He's starting to kind of come into his form. Josh Allen has he wins on 17%, which is ranked pretty high. He's had 67 pressures on the season. So I do think that the answer is going to be to try to get after Patrick Mahomes and make him uncomfortable. The thing that people don't really think about a lot is that the Chiefs need Patrick Mahomes, or the Jags need Patrick Mahomes to have a bad day. And sometimes it is as simple as that. If Patrick Mahomes is having a good day, they're nearly impossible to beat. But Patrick Mahomes does have bad days. I would argue both of his Super Bowls were not his best day. And the AFC Championship game last year against Joe Burrow was not his best game. But
fair.
What a lot of people don't realize is how good the Chiefs' offensive line is. I did a little deep dive into their offensive line. The top 10 offensive guards pass block win rate in the NFL, number one is Joe Thuney. He's got a 99% win rate, which is the Chiefs.
Wow.
Yeah. And then if you go down to number 4, so you got Landon Dickerson, number 2 for the Philadelphia Eagles, and then you got Zach Martin, Pro Bowler, future Pro Bowler for the Cowboys. Number 4, Trey Smith. We're back at the Chiefs. So you got 2 of the top 4, and then he's at a 96% win rate. So, and then you go top 10 center pass block rate. Creed Humphrey, number 1. That's also for the Chiefs. So you got 3 guys right now playing at a elite level, 99%, 98%, 96%. And what has really allowed that, what has that allowed to happen is that Patrick Mahomes has the most protection. He has the best offensive line right now when it comes time to passing it. Run block, they have one guy in the top 5, Joe Thuney, also 76% win rate versus running, but this is a passing team. They can run the football, but they're definitely a passing team. So when you look at this, you see, okay, Patrick Mahomes has a lot of time to throw because he has a good offensive line, right?
Yep.
But what happens is Patrick Mahomes actually, if you look at it, he's averaging one of the most hurries. So Tom Brady sacked the least, 22 times, but you know Tom Brady just avoids being sacked. Patrick Mahomes has been sacked 24 times. Patrick Mahomes has hurried 52 times, which is the most in the NFL, which tells me that even though he has that fantastic offensive line that is ranked all-time great, he is still holding on to the ball very long until there's some kind of pressure or hurry, and then he throws it. And here's the problem. If you're playing man defense and you have that kind of offensive line, let's say they're giving you 7 seconds. That offensive line's giving him 7 seconds. And these analytics prove that Patrick Mahomes is holding the ball that long. So he gets out of the pocket. He snaps the ball, stays in the pocket. There's 3 seconds. Rolls out of the pocket, burns another 4. By the time the ball is thrown, you can't ask cornerbacks to stay in man coverage for 7 seconds. That's just that's not likely. So you go, okay, we'll go zone defense, which is exactly what the Jaguars tried to do last time they played the Chiefs. And Andy Reid is one of the best at this. He runs a zone buster. So it'd be like one player going this way, the other one going that way, and you get in these pockets of the zone. It's Andy Reid. He's one of the best all time. So damned if you play man, damned if you play zone. You really kind of stuck with not a lot of, options besides getting after the quarterback. And this is going to be hard for Jacksonville to do because Jacksonville has a lot of pieces, but this is such an underrated offensive line. Until I looked at these numbers, I was like, damn, the Chiefs really do have the best offensive line in the
You'd never expected, would you?
No, because I just always thought, Mahomes is just great. So, I mean, but and we'll talk more about what it looks like when you don't have that offensive line in a little bit, but I really think that the Chiefs are going to have a really bad day to lose this game. I expect Jacksonville to be competitive and to try to stay, in the game. But PFF's grade of their last matchup, Patrick Mahomes had a 91.4. That was the highest quarterback ranked in that week that they played, Kansas City played the Jags. So
Yeah.
last time they played, it was a really good matchup. Patrick Mahomes played a really, really good game. Best quarterback in the league that week. Josh Allen, 61.9 grade that week.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Not great.
I think the secret is going to be having to get after Patrick Mahomes and forcing some kind of pressure, but I don't think I think this game could stay somewhat close. I don't think 9 points. That's what DraftKings has, 9 points. I
Mhm.
don't think that the Chiefs win by 9, but I'll take them to win by 7. I really think this could turn into a shootout, because
Mhm.
another thing is that the defense for the Chiefs, they're not that great.
Yeah.
They're not terrible, but they're ranked 16th in passing yards per game.
Mhm.
So you look at their defense and you're like, hey, there's something there. There's something that we can attack there, at least offensively for the Jaguars. But
Mhm.
I think that offense for the Chiefs and Andy Reid, that's going to be a lot to handle, and I don't know if the Jaguars are ready for that.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and I saw this matchup, right? Jags at Chiefs, and I feel like given the I'm sorry, you said DraftKings was given 9 points, right?
Yep, 9 points.
So, and I think that's kind of the attitude going into this week in this matchup. A lot of people are just saying, yeah, the Chiefs are going to steamroll them. The Jags, though, have shown a lot of like resiliency. The end of the season, them getting into the playoffs was resiliency. The reason they are here is because they stepped up when they needed to step up, and they could make this a game absolutely. After what happened last week, again, I mentioned it earlier against the Chargers, right? They can do that. What I will say is the Chiefs are just a better team. You know, they are just so good offensively. You just said it on the line. They are one of the top rated lines in the NFL. But you also have Patrick Mahomes, man. I mean, it's not fair. I feel like to go against a Patrick Mahomes, just because of how good he is. And you said it earlier too. He may not even be at his peak yet. We are probably just in the very beginnings of a very long, illustrious Hall of Fame career, right at this point. The Jags are going to struggle offensively. I think they will keep it a shootout. I think it's going to be an underrated game. It might be one of the closer games. Probably I don't want to say it's going to be the closest game of the weekend just because of the other matchups, but it's going to be a close game, I think. And 9 points, yeah, probably not. I would say maybe like 6 points. Like you said 7 points, right?
Yeah, I said I could
Yeah.
see it getting up to 7 points, but actually I have a specific prediction for this game. I didn't do it for every game,
Yeah.
but this is kind of the cherry on top of everything I said. So the Jaguars, when you look at their pass defense, they're 27th, allowing the 27th most pass yards per game. That is
Jeez.
that's a problem, right? Because now
Yeah.
you're looking at a bottom
Mhm.
passing defense, and Kansas City has the number 1 passing
Passing
offense.
offense.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of a recipe for the shootout. And the only way Jacksonville can kind of stay in it is
Mhm.
Kansas City has the 18th. I said 16th. It's actually 18th ranked passing defense, and Jacksonville's actually at number 10.
Oh,
So you
wow.
do have a matchup where if you are doing just points per game, Kansas City 29.2, Jacksonville 24.2. And
Mhm.
if you look at that, that's a 5-point margin. And when you look at, okay, we got number 1 versus number 10. I do see it going back and forth and being kind of a shootout. And I'm taking
Mhm.
Kansas City 35-30.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. 35-30.
Yeah.
Oof. I think 35-30. So I think the only time, and I'm looking it up right now, they've given up 30 was against the Bucks, and that was early in the season. Now, again, this is the playoffs. I get it. Things are elevated, and the fact that Jacksonville's passing offense is pretty damn good. At 10th. That's kind of what I was thinking too. That's what I like about the Jags, about the resiliency and how they're able to kind of come in and just kind of prove them wrong. Trevor Lawrence has just looked better this year. We talked about it last episode. What would have happened to him his rookie year had he had Doug Peterson instead of he who shall not be named, but old Stinky Fingers. Yep. 35-30. Man, I kind of like that score. I was thinking more.
They gave up 28 to Denver 2 weeks ago, and they were playing. That was absolutely a hard one. They gave up 29 to the Raiders. They gave up,
so they're close.
27 to the Bengals in a loss.
27 to the Chargers.
24 again. Like I get what you're saying. They don't give up 30 a lot. They gave up 31 when they played the Bucks.
Because that's what I was gonna say. I'm thinking more of like a 31-24 game. 31-24, 31-27, somewhere in that range. It's gonna be close, but the only thing, this is something we said we were gonna do before as we finish the predictions, right? Fill in the blank. Winner of this game will blank. First of all, I'm going to go with the Chiefs that are going to win this game. But the Chiefs, in order to win this game, winner of this game will have to keep their foot on the pedal. The Chiefs have to continue doing what they do on offense, no matter what is going on, if they're up big, if they are up by a score, and that could be 3 points, right? We saw what the Jags can do. If they're down, they're not going to give up. They're not just the Jags of old, right? They're not going to give up. So the winner of this game has to keep their foot on the pedal, scoring and ready to take the ball after the Jags scored, for example, the Chiefs, and go down the field methodically, take up time, and score a touchdown. That's what the winner of the game will have to do. Kyle, what do you have for fill in the blank here?
I agree with that. Mine's kind of in the same genre. So obviously the Chiefs don't have San Francisco's defense by any means. So I do think when you have an offense as explosive as Kansas City, you have to steal a drive. I'm going to say the winner of this game will win the turnover battle. If Jacksonville by the end of the game has 2 turnovers, I think they could turn. Like, it's okay to, even though Brock Purdy hasn't done it, if he did turn the ball over, you can have your defense run out there and stop them. That's not a problem. Yeah. Like, if the Chiefs give up a turnover, Jacksonville might score on that drive. So I do think that is going to be kind of the secret. And I got this kind of being a high scoring game. 10-1. That is the offensive pass, matchup. So Kansas City averaging 297 passing yards per game. Jacksonville at 235. Jacksonville's going to need to have their best passing game of the year.
Ooh, that's a good one.
We cannot move on without mentioning ETN, because ETN has been absolutely huge for the Jags. That's why they got rid of James Robinson. And ETN, I do have him written down here last week. I believe he had 109 yards. Yeah, Travis Etienne had 109 yards versus the Chargers. So also that is going to be key. You said long methodical drives. Etienne is going to have a great game. Really, you want to keep the Jaguars out of passing obvious downs, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. If they can run the ball and have a lot of success doing that, it's going to set up a lot of 3rd and 4s. That's when you can exploit the Chiefs defense. It is possible. It is going to be a good game. And like you and I are on the same page. I think this game's going to be a lot better than people realize, because Jacksonville is playing with a lot of emotion.
Yeah. And they're playing with like that sense of, we don't really have much to lose here. We weren't necessarily supposed to be here mid-season. It was supposed to be the Titans winning this, right? And maybe the Panthers, they look like they were doing something, but we're not even supposed to be here. And we already won a playoff game. So I like that. The turnover battle, I do like that. But in the end, I've got the Chiefs. You've got the Chiefs. Looks like the conference championship is going to go through Arrowhead once again. And real quick, before we move on to the next one, let me hit the comments here. We got Matt on here. Matt is a longtime listener of a lot of the Star 6 media shows. So Matt, what's up, man? Thank you for complimenting the hat. I want to see yours. You said bear down 2023, 2024. I love it. I love it. We got unseen pets in here. Sorry, I was here late. All good. Thanks for tuning in, guys. All right, Kyle, let's move on to the next matchup. It is the NFC East divisional matchup. Giants at Eagles. What the NFC least you called it, but is technically the NFC beast.
Three of four teams left in the NFC.
I mean, other than the 49ers, it's all NFC, right? So that's impressive. What do you got? What have you got here for the people for Giants at Eagles?
All right. So looking at the Eagles, Philadelphia has been scoring a lot of points. They've had a lot of success offensively all year long. Jalen Hurts playing at that MVP level. I would say Philly has shown a little regression in their last 3 games. My goodness, my dog just ran over my light.
You still look good.
Thank you. So the Eagles averaging 28.1 points per game all season, but their last 3 only 22 points per game. Now the Giants are number 14. So you go from 3 all the way to 14. It's still middle of the pack. They average 22 points per game, but their last 3, they're averaging 28.3. So you kind of have 2 teams that have both turned in a way where they're both kind of coming back towards each other. The Giants are going up. The Eagles kind of trending down. Let's look at the pass yards per game. Eagles 241.5 pass yards per game. That's number 9. So that's a top 10 passing offense. The Giants 26 on the season, 191.4. We'll circle back to this. The pass defense, Philadelphia, I don't know if you know this. They have the number 1 passing defense in the NFL. They're giving up 179.8 yards. So right away, you're looking at number 26 passing for the Giants going against the number 1 pass defense in the Eagles. And then on the flip side of that, the Eagles have the number 9 passing offense going against the Giants. They're number 15 on defense, giving up 217. So those numbers seem a little lopsided because you got 1 versus 26. And then for the Eagles, you got 9 versus 15. It does seem a little like, hey, this could be exploited. But you also got to remember, the Giants are the least turnover team in the league this year. They've committed the least amount of turnovers. So when Dabble came in, his number 1 thing was Daniel Jones has to stop throwing interceptions. We have to protect the ball. That was his step 1 on his mission. And it wasn't until week 16 that he was like, hey, let's let him loose. He's let's give him a little more leash. He hasn't committed any turnovers. Let's see what we have here. And now you got 28.3 points a game in the last 3. And the real question is, can this success be continued into Philly? As far as rushing goes, the Giants have the 4th rushing offense, 147.6. Check this out. Philly right behind them, 147.8. They're literally 0.2 yards per game within each other. So you have almost an exact, yards per game offense. The only difference is the Giants drop all the way to 26 when passing. So they're not really kind of balanced. They're really good at running it and passing it through the season, kind of in the bottom. And the Eagles are really good at passing it and really good at running it and really good at stopping the pass and stopping the rush. They're 16th. They give up 121 yards per rusher for the Eagles. The Giants 27th, though. 139.6 yards per game that they give up. So when I look at these numbers, I understand. I mean, the line for this game, I think it was at 7.5 or something like that. And you rarely see this, but the line hasn't changed all week long, which means the wise guys are keeping it where it's at because people are betting on the Eagles. They're betting on the Giants at the same rate. So you literally have half the world divided. Some people are like, hey, the Giants are kind of a new team right now and the world hasn't figured it out. And then some people are like, hey, the Eagles had a bad last game. Jalen Hurts was kind of hurt, no pun, and he's going to get back get back to playing, Philadelphia Eagles style of football. And I'm kind of with that group. I'm with the group that says, look, the Eagles are at home. Jalen Hurts is going to be ready. That wasn't a playoff game. Maybe the
Hmm.
Giants, it gave them a lot of kind of hope because they were like, hey, we can beat this team. We had a close game week 17 with our backups. That's
Hmm.
definitely going to help going in with confidence. But when I look at the matchups, I see that there's just this is the last thing I'll say.
Hmm.
Defense by quarter. So in the first quarter, Philadelphia gives up an average of 4.9 points. That's 26th in the NFL. So the Eagles do not have a strong first quarter normally. The Giants give up 4.7. That's 24th. So these are two teams that both don't normally play their best football in the first quarter. I
Yeah.
mean, from that point on, the Eagles are ranked fourth in the second quarter, fourth in the third, 21st in the fourth. And so it's like they don't start great and they don't quite end strong, but that quarter 2 and 3 is where you get beat by the Eagles team.
Hmm.
And if the Giants are going to win this game, they're going to have a very strong second and third quarter.
I like it. I like it. Um, for me, the Giants did really well, and like you said, I think they have a lot of hope coming into this game, just from what they were able to do against the. Oh my God, who did they just play?
Who, the
Why am I?
Giants?
Yeah, who did they just play? The
Oh,
Vikings. Yeah, sorry, the
yeah.
Vikings. Yeah, so they're gonna have a lot of hope in here, and you mentioned the passing and where their passing offense is, and where the passing defense is for the Eagles. They're going to rely a lot on Saquon, and Saquon is more than likely going to take this team, put it on its back, and try to beat them on the run game. Which I mean, it is exactly what I think you should do. As dabble the size of a regular man's nuts. Um, but he's a really good coach, man.
Great.
Dabble's a really good coach. Like if he wins Coach of the Year this year, like I wouldn't be surprised. So he is
He
probably
probably will.
sent. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And this whole week he's been prepping for the Eagles. He knows what he needs to do, but I think at the end of the day, man, it's just really about the team. Which team is better? And obviously, the Eagles are just a better overall team, because of what you were saying, where they rank in offense and defense. I think they're just going to mangle the Giants. This is the one game that I think is going to be like a blowout win for the Eagles. So that's why I'm taking the Eagles. I just think they're better. Jalen Hurts had an entire 2 weeks off to prep and to get healthy for this game. And I feel like Jalen Hurts could be at like 70% healthy and still be really good enough to beat this Giants team, with, him being a little beaten up, a little bruised up, whatever you want to call it. I just think they're better. And here's what I will say too. Even if Jalen Hurts isn't at 100%, and you can tell that maybe he's not feeling it, he's not throwing the ball as well, maybe he's running it a lot, whatever that may be. I think the defense for the Eagles is going to step up in a big way. If Jalen Hurts, throughout the season has been able to get us these wins, now when it really matters, the defense is going to be able to really lock down on the Giants. And one of the things that they have to do too, not only Saquon, but really, really like lock down Daniel Jones as far as his running ability, because he can get it done on the ground, man. And that's one of the reasons that the Giants have a really good running game, is because the quarterback, which is Daniel Jones, which we never really even would have thought of, right? Because we talk about Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, even Jalen Hurts. Jones is really good at running the ball, man, and he had a great game last week passing the ball. So his confidence levels are way up going into this game. But I don't think it's going to be easy for him to against the Eagles, because the Vikings defense has been pretty trash all year. So I don't think he's going to have that same success against the Eagles. So the defense really does need to make sure that he can't get his rushing game going, as well as Saquon. But I'm taking the Eagles for this. Like I said, I think this is probably going to be the closest game to a blowout we're going to see this weekend. It's not going to be Jags Chiefs. It's going to be Giants Eagles.
Yeah, and that is something I could totally see happening. We
Mm-hmm.
kind of all agreed that by the end of the year, the Vikings were considered a middle of the pack team.
Yeah.
Um, and the Giants they won. I mean, they beat a average team, a team that
Hmm.
checked it down with the game on the line. And
Yeah.
it's not throwing shade at the Giants because that was a huge accomplishment for the team. But now it almost feels like if you I can't even pick on Giants fan because it's literally half the country that believes that the Giants could come and win. And I think it's just a great story. And
Hmm.
everybody loves an underdog. And
Hmm.
Giants have become kind of the underdog, not Jacksonville, it's the Giants. Probably because people enjoy watching Mahomes play too much to want him to be out. So, um, I mean, I'm just being real. Mahomes is
Yeah.
really good TV. So
Yeah.
I do think that there's going to be some people that disagree with that, but I think people are really, really quick to forget about what the Eagles look like when they are
Yeah. Yeah.
playing their best football. Because when Jalen Hurts is having his way, like this isn't Kirk Cousins, like this is a whole nother beast, and it could be close just because it's a divisional game. Now, I want to see what the scores were when they played during the regular season because I'm sure at one point they played each other during the regular season with everybody healthy. Not that last one.
The
I
Giants and
think,
Eagles, you mean?
yeah, I can pull it up here really quick.
Okay,
Just
I'll try to pull it up as well to see what the scores were because that is an interesting point to see exactly where they were, how they were matched up, because we got all these stats during the season. So it would be interesting to see how they were matched up during the regular season.
here we go. So they played week, let's see, that's week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They didn't play till week 13, and the score is
Wow.
48-22.
In favor of the Eagles?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, the
Oh,
Eagles almost
wow.
dropped 50 on them, and that was a road game. That was a road game.
Jesus.
Um,
And they,
yeah, I
yeah.
think that Giants fans are gonna have to manage expectations. The only way that the Giants are gonna have a chance in this game is if we're seeing the Eagles that we saw as of recently. But if they have any kind of vintage moment about who they were from week 1 to 12 comes
Hmm.
back, like it's gonna be the Eagles in the NFC Championship, and I'm very confident with that pick.
I like that. But all right, Kyle, fill in the blank. The winner of this game will.
Score the most points in the third quarter.
I thought you were just gonna say score the most points. I was about to fucking kill you.
No, because look, this is the defense by quarter. I said 26-24. That's the first
Hmm.
quarter. The second quarter, 4 and 8. So they both have good second quarters. But look at the third quarter. This is the
Yeah.
only lopside I can find. The Eagles ranked fourth in defense by only giving up 3.3 points per third quarter, and
Hmm.
the Giants are 25th. So very close. You go one quarter, damn, that's close. Well, one quarter, oh, it's within two. Then you get to the third, and it's like, dude, the Giants shit the bed. They're 25th in the third
Hmm.
quarter on defense, and the Philadelphia Eagles plays their best quarter in the third. So I'm going to say that the winner of this game is going to dominate the third quarter. Whoever it is will win this game.
I like it. I like
This
it. All
game,
right.
this could be a game at halftime, and people will be like, "Yeah, we got a ball game." And by the end of the third, people are
It's
turning it off.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah. People are heading to the parking lot, turning off TVs,
yeah.
going home,
Don't
crying,
be
or cheering.
surprised. Don't be
Yeah.
surprised if it's halftime and we're still eating our popcorn. Just give it one more quarter.
All right. For me, the winner of this game will win the rushing yard battle. Both teams are really good at it. Boston Scott, little known, I don't know if it's a little known fact, but kind of underrated fact. Boston Scott for the Eagles is a giant killer. He scores like he has his best games against the Giants. Like he scored 3 touchdowns, I think, in a game before. He like continuously scores touchdowns against the Giants. Like isn't that like the weirdest thing? Because Boston Scott isn't necessarily like this running back we're all going to draft for fantasy, but this
Yeah,
guy kills the Giants every week.
that's like a interesting thing. Like, he just
Yeah.
good at Giants week, you know?
Yeah, he just dominates. So I think the winner of this game will dominate the running game, and that's I think it's going to be the Eagles this time because I think that defense on the Eagles side is going to be able to keep both Saquon and Daniel Jones in check in this game.
And to your point, the Giants averaging 147.6 yards a game to 147.8. So that is about as close as you can get
Yeah.
during a 17-game season,
Yep.
18-game season, 17 games, 18 weeks to be within 0.2. That's insane. That's
It is
insane.
insane. Yeah. All right. So that was the Saturday divisional round games. Before we move on, let's hit the comments here for a sec. We got Matt. His predictions are going to be Chiefs, Eagles, Bills, and 49ers. Bold predictions there, Matt. We'll see how it actually works out. And then we got KC. KC, welcome. Welcome. Cheers.
What's
I got
up,
water,
Casey?
but cheers. He is saying both the Eagles and Giants are legit. Yeah, I mean the Giants beat the Vikings, but again, the Vikings were in the playoffs. They had such a great record. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like they are in the playoffs, right? Like it's tough to not
The
be like
hype
they're
is
not legit.
Yeah.
The hype
Well,
I think is legit. Yeah,
the hype is legit. But there's levels. I mean, the Eagles and the Niners are
Mhm.
level, and to just throw the Giants up in that group, they're gonna have to go earn that. I'm not gonna put them there
Absolutely,
right now.
absolutely, definitely agree. But all right, let's move on to Sunday. First game of the Sunday schedule is going to be the Bengals at the Bills. Joe Burrow versus Josh Allen. Kyle, this is going to be one of the better divisional round games, I think. It may or may not be close, obviously, given how the Bills played, how the Bengals played the week prior. What do you got for the Bengals and Bills?
All right. I'm just going to start by saying that if the Bengals find a way to win this game, it will be the greatest accomplishment of Joe Burrow's career. And
Okay.
I can explain. So, on that game against the Ravens, okay, I did a deep dive into some of this stuff that you brought up in that argument because you were right. You were right about a lot of the stuff that you were saying. You were right about Joe Burrow not scoring a lot of points, and I really believe in Joe. So I wanted to see why. Like, why is it that way? Why didn't he have like a Mahomes moment and score 30? And I found something that is extremely important. They
Wrong.
spent millions and millions of dollars on their line, and Jonah Williams exited that game with an injury. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that put a blind spot at left tackle. Right tackle is a Hakeem Adenayi. He had to be the replacement for that tackle, and he had a rough night. 3 pressures, and he allowed 8 pass block losses. So people just beating him, and
Yeah.
they also have no Jonah Williams at left tackle. Right tackle, Alex Kappa. That's the right tackle. He's out. And then
Mm-hmm.
La'el Collins was ruled out since week 16 with the torn ACL.
Yeah.
So all the money you spend your offensive line, they're all gone. At first, it was just, and this is why it caught me off guard. At first, it was just La'el Collins. And I was like, great, quarterbacks overcome that. No
Yeah.
problem. Let's just push. And then the next injury was Alex Kappa. And then with Jonah Williams going out, you're like, wait a minute, they don't have, 1, 2, 3 of their 5 offensive line, and these new guys have come in and they're doing terrible. They're doing really, really, really bad. I'm to put it nicely, they're just not doing great. So Burrow posted in the Ravens game 6.3 yards average depth of target, which was extremely low. Burrow helped take stress off the offensive line, and he got the ball out in an average of 2.54 seconds per pass.
Oh,
So
wow.
this is the problem. Joe Burrow he has great receivers. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd, all really great receivers. But the problem is they don't have time to run their routes because Joe Burrow has only 2.4 seconds to get rid of the ball or he's going to get sacked. What's really impressive is that Joe Burrow recorded 0 turnover-worthy plays in the entire game with that offensive line. So when you look at best deep
That's
ball,
impressive.
yeah, when you look at the best deep ball completion percentage during the entire regular season, Geno Smith was at number 1, but number 2 was Joe Burrow at 68.3%, averaging 7.4 yards per attempt on the season. Mahomes is at number 7. But this tells me that you have a high completion percentage that's allowing your receivers to get downfield. Joe Burrow, I don't think a lot of people talk about him in this light, but he's one of the best deep ball throwers in the league right now. That is something that he can do. If Jamar Chase is going 45 yards downfield, like, he can put it on the money. And that was kind of the thing about the Bengals offense that gave it that explosion. Jamar Chase was ranked 16th in air yards. So that doesn't include yards after catch, just air yards. So, I mean, these throws, naturally, if you look at the air yards on these guys, Tyler Boyd, 9.2, Jamar Chase, 6.9, over 5 yards per reception. These are like passes that are just naturally, they're going a good distance, which is going to require some time. I know this because I had a bad O-line all season for the Broncos. So I know what it's like to not have any time for your receivers to run their routes. All you can do is throw a screen or a slant, and then people complain. Like, we were like, wait, look at all the targets and catches that Jamar Chase had. He had 9 catches on 12 targets. But what did it equal? He had, I think, 49 yards, and the longest catch of the day was 15 yards. So this is a huge problem. I don't know how the Bengals can overcome this. I think Joe Burrow is great, but when you don't have an offensive line, like we just talked about what it's like to be in Kansas City with that offensive line.
With that top O-line,
Yeah. Mahomes has the most yards per attempt out of quarterbacks that have played 16 games. 8 yards per attempt because his receivers are downfield. The next QB on that list was Joe Burrow at 7.6. So when you look at most air yards per attempt, it was Mahomes, and then right underneath was Joe Burrow. Now you don't have an offensive line, which changes the whole dynamic of your offense. So you literally have to rip up everything that you are, your entire identity, and figure out, okay, how are we going to win without being able to throw the ball more than 10 yards downfield with the most deep receiving core in the NFL? It's not going to be an easy thing to solve, and that's why I think Buffalo is going to win this game. I don't think it's because that's why I said if Cincinnati can win this game, Joe Burrow did a lot last season with no offensive line. Maybe he could do it again. But Buffalo, against that defense, it's going to be a little bit different than playing Tennessee or playing the Raiders. Like, you're going to have to beat a real team on the road, and you're going to be limited as far as what you can even do offensively. And it almost feels like their hands are tied. Like, they can't fix this problem. They're screwed.
Yeah, that is interesting because I didn't even realize that one of his linemen was out last week against the Ravens. And this is one of those things, right? With Burrow. Last year, they were playing with house money. This year, it's more of like expectations to continue going to the playoffs, getting to the conference championships, for example, right? But when you have such a loss like that, like Joe Burrow has, and they're very, I don't want to say one-dimensional, but they, like you said, they have to rip up who they are and kind of flex on, like, okay, maybe now it's a Joe Mixon Pirine game, right? Like, maybe it's like a running game now. Can we actually afford to do that? That's going to be the interesting part for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And you're right. They have a really deep receiving core. I don't think it's going to necessarily, they're going to rip up, who they've been, or they're going to completely go away from the passing game. I think the passing game is still going to be there and it's still going to be pretty effective. What I think, though, is they're just going to rely heavily on Joe Mixon to get the ball moving, to get those first downs, or at least to get those big yardage first downs, in order for the passing game to kind of open up a little bit and make it a little bit easier. Because I don't know what his hang time is, like what Joe Burrow's time is hanging on or getting rid of the ball, but I feel like he could get it out pretty quickly.
Last week he averaged 2.5 seconds, but that's not quick enough for like the receivers to be downfield. One Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, gone.
Yeah.
You know what I
So
mean? You mentally think about that. That's not a lot of time.
so then that might also change them up a little bit too as far as the passing game. Let's get some quick slants out. Let's get some, comeback routes, something like that, or dump it off to the running back. See what Joe Mixon can do in open space if you can get it to him. That's going to be the interesting part for the Bengals. For the Bills, they need to not turn the fucking ball over, man. That's what it is. It has come down to for the Bills pretty much all season, really, since they kind of went on that I always talk about it, but that mid-season like skid that they went through where they were like passing or turning the ball over, getting losses. A lot of people were questioning the Bills whether or not they were an actual elite team at that time. And luckily, they were able to get over that hump, come into the playoffs, and just pretty much do the work to show, hey, look, no, we're still that, we still have Josh Allen as our quarterback, and we're still a very, very good team. You saw what they did against the Bengals too, but it's really going to just be about the turnovers. I think the defense should be fine. Like I said, the only thing I'm worried about is not only the turnover game, but the running game. Singletary has done pretty well this year for the Bills. But outside of Singletary, like even he's not like he's not a running back you necessarily are like, I can count on this guy. He's been okay. He's been pretty good this year compared to his last year's. But let's be honest, if we're going to rush the ball, if we're going to try to get a first down here, it's Josh Allen all day, right?
And
like it's
Cook's got involved too.
Oh yeah, Cook. I forgot. Yeah, Dalvin Cook's brother. He's gotten involved too a lot after they traded Zach Moss. Yeah. I think for the Bills, it's really going to come down to those two things. Can they not turn the ball over? Can they not be as careless as they have been? And can they rely on the running game late in games? Because the Bengals are going to struggle with those offensive line issues. But come fourth quarter of this game, it's still going to be close to me. I think no matter what happens, this game is still going to come close in the fourth quarter. And that's when, yeah, sure, you probably want Josh Allen to throw the ball, I don't know, 20 times in the fourth quarter, something like that, to really, try to keep your foot on the pedal or whatever to keep scoring points. But man, I think the running game for them is going to be crucial at a moment like that. If they can make it happen for the Bills. But I'm still taking the Bills to win this. They, in our preseason episodes, we picked the Bills preseason. So I'm sticking with my guns here. I'm going with the Bills over the Bengals. This is going to be the closest game of the divisional round.
Yeah, see, I hope so. And I think I want the Bengals to win. The problem I like Joe Burrow a lot. And when they drafted Jamar Chase, everybody was like, why wouldn't you get an offensive line? Like the first thing you do, you buy a nice car, you get insurance. Like, where's your insurance with Joe Burrow? And then Joe Burrow had the season he had last year and everybody shut up about it. But it's kind of now it's like, hey, remember when you wanted Jamar Chase? Well, Ironically enough, I think Jamar Chase is going to be the only way the Bengals can win this. Check this out. Jamar Chase is top 10 in receiving yards over expected at a plus 157. So you throw a play, you think he's going to be down, and then, oh, damn, he got more yards. Analytically, he gets more yards than it would be expected if you paused it right when he's about to catch it. And then Yak over expected. So yards after catch over expected. He's also top 10 with 122 over expected yards. So he is very good after he gets the ball in his hands. And he's 6th in the NFL outside the numbers with 515 yards. So I'm looking at wide receiver screens, and I'm looking at a lot of out routes, getting him on on that side of the numbers. And those are things that aren't going to take a ton of time. And they could potentially get Joe Burrow, the ball out kind of quick. But you mentioned the running game for Joe Mixon. Last week, he had 39 yards on 11 carries.
Yeah.
They said, we know that you don't have time to pass the ball, so we'll just stop the run. And then we'll just get after your quarterback, with your preseason offensive line. Like, what is this? And then, and in turn, it worked for the Ravens. The longest pass of the play for Jamar Chase was 19 yards, 12 yards for T. Higgins.
Wow.
This is terrible news for the Bills, because you literally have, and Joe Burrow, I will say, shout out to Joe Burrow for 0 turnover worthy plays with that offensive line and getting the ball out of his hands in 2.5 seconds. Like, he's helping his, offensive line the most that he can, and he's not putting the ball at risk. Meanwhile, Josh Allen, he's got time and he's throwing it up to the other team and taking shots and forcing things. And
Yeah.
this could be tricky because the conservative short check down passer may be the deep ball shot taker gunslinger. And on paper, it seems like the Bills should absolutely win. But if Josh Allen goes out there and he plays a more reckless version, because no doubt he'll play more reckless than Joe Burrow. That is just, you look at everything I just said, that's going to happen. But if it doesn't work for the Bills and he forces some of these turnovers, you may have a close game. And I don't know if people that aren't well versed on, what's going on with the Bengals are going to care. They're going to be like, yeah, the Bengals were the other team. Of course they won. The Bengals should absolutely not win this game. They are extremely handicapped going into the game. And if they find a way to win this game, I think it's not just going to be that the Bengals played a good game. It's going to be that the Bills also, threw some stupid picks, tried to force plays, lost the game plan. It didn't really make sense. Why are they not situational football? Like, if the Bills do that, it's the only way. If the Bills go out and play the kind of football that when they're really firing, and that's what's concerning, is they already played their bad game last week. Why would they go out there and play another terrible game? I just think that is kind of hard to anticipate, and that's why I think the Bills are going to win at home.
All right, so then let's go to fill in the blank here. The winner of this game will
have at least 2 interceptions.
Oh, I like that. For me, I talked about how close this game is going to be, what I assume will be. So the winner of this game will be the team with the last possession of the game. That's who I think the winner will be.
Ooh.
Yeah. So whether it's we're driving down the field trying to get a score, or it's a turnover and we're in victory formation, whoever has the ball last will be the winner of this game.
I'll say the winner of this game between Stephon Diggs and Jamar Chase, whoever has more yards between those two players wins the game.
I think you got to show some love, like yes,
to
for
T.
the Bills,
Higgins,
to T. Higgins and to Gabe Davis. I think both of those guys are
different,
great. Though. Okay, yeah, no, they're different, but Jamar Chase is number one, and Stephon Diggs is number one. Gabe Davis and T. Higgins have the ability to take over as the number one option for both of these teams.
See, I know that. That's why I said this, because it's very specific. The yards after catch and the yards over expected, those are the type of things that even if he runs a 7-yard play, he can turn it into a 15, 20-yarder. So I do think Jamar Chase is going to have to, out of all your receivers, I don't think it's going to be T. Higgins. There's a reason he had a long of 12 yards last week. It's going to be Jamar Chase, getting him in space and getting the ball really fast and allowing him to just be special. And that's why I'm thinking out of all these guys, it's Jamar Chase that's going to have to show up and stand out. He's going to have a huge game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. Okay. Got Kyle with the stats out here. Before we move on to the final game of the divisional week, let's check in on the comments. We got Ginger. Good evening, boys. Ginger,
what's up,
cheers.
Ginger?
And then KC said, thought you were hungry, Ginger.
Because he said food. Good evening,
food
boys.
Evening, boys. I love it. All right, but thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate everyone right now in the chat on the stream here with Kyle and I on Only Football. Let's move on to the final exciting game of the divisional round for the NFL playoffs. The Cowboys at the 49ers.
That's going to be a good one.
This is going to be a good one. This I think is going to be whether it shows the Cowboys are for real or not. But Kyle, what do you have? You got Purdy.
You got Purdy.
Dak. You got a bunch of offensive weapons. You have a ton of names in this game, like a ton of fucking names in this game on both sides, on both teams. So, what do you got for this Cowboys 49ers game?
San Francisco in their last 3 games is averaging 38.7 points a game, and they scored 41 last week. So 49ers are putting up an absurd amount of points. Like number 1 on the season is the Chiefs at 29. And now here's San Francisco averaging between 38 and 40 every week. So how are you going to be able to stop Brock Purdy? It's going to be really difficult. Dallas in the last 3 games is averaging 21.3 points a game. So not as many points offensively for Dallas as there is for San Francisco. Defensively, San Francisco also number 1, keeping their opponents to 16.7 points a game. But Dallas is actually number 5 at 19.8. So Dallas's defense, a top 5 unit in keeping the score down, that's going to be clutch. Going by quarter, Dallas, these are the defensive points per quarter, okay? Dallas is ranked 5th with 3.2. San Francisco 11th with 3.6. So there's a chance, I think, in this game that you see Dallas take a lead in the first quarter. It's the question is not can they take the lead in the first quarter. It's going to be can they keep it? Can they hang on to it
throughout the game?
We saw the Seattle take a 1-point lead at halftime. But look at what happens after this. San Francisco in the second quarter, number 1. Dallas, number 15. The third quarter, San Francisco 11, Dallas 21. And then the fourth quarter, San Francisco 3rd, Dallas 4th. So really your lopside here is the second quarter and what is done in the third quarter. The last 3 games, though, check this out. In the third quarter, in the last 3 games, Dallas is averaging 6.7 points that they're giving up. And Arizona is at 6.6 or 31st in the NFL in the third quarter. So really, when you look at this in their last 3 games, Dallas has been among the worst teams in the NFL in the third quarter. And the 49ers are among the best. So I do think it's not, can they get up early? It's can the second and third quarter not take its toll, because San Francisco is the most physical team in the NFL. They are going to body you. Like, it is an aggressive, physical style of football. Let's talk about the rushing, though. Rushing defense, 49ers ranked 2nd, giving up 79 yards a game. And Dallas is ranked 22nd, giving up 125. So 49ers rush defense a lot better than Dallas is. But watch this. I found a little hidden gem. In the last 3 games.
I love it.
In the last 3 games, their rushing defense has both given up 100 yards in the last 3 games. So 100 yards per game. Their average in the last 3 games is 100. Exactly 100. So the last 3 games, they are exactly the same. But I'm going to take the larger sample size here with San Francisco's full season. So I do think San Francisco, you got to give them the edge there. Offensive yards per game. Okay. The last 3 in yards per game, 423 yards per game for the 49ers. That's number 1 in the NFL. And Dallas is at 17 with 322. So huge edge offensively for San Francisco with just yards per game. And then Dallas's rushing defense, 125 yards per game. That's ranked 22nd. And San Francisco is running the ball 141 yards per game, which is ranked 7th. Now, here's the thing about the rushing, San Francisco's rushing offense. I said they're ranked 7th, okay? Now, check this out. The teams that are ranked 1 through 6, Chicago, number 1.
That's right.
Okay? But passing yards per game, they're 32nd.
Of course, yeah.
Okay? So, hold on. Don't get too excited.
Why you gotta do that? Why you gotta do that to me? Why you gotta do that?
Now, keep in mind that San Francisco is ranked 7th rushing. Okay, so number 1 in the NFL, Chicago, they're last in passing. Number 2 is Atlanta. They're 31st in passing. Number 3 is Baltimore. They're 28th in passing. Number 4 is the Giants. They're 26th. Like, the common theme is that the other teams, San Francisco, they're at number 7, but the teams 1 through 6 are the worst in the NFL at passing. They're only good at running it. Then you look at San Francisco and you're like, wait a minute, They're ranked 7th at running the ball. And then when it comes to passing the ball, they're also ranked first in yards. So you got your hands full. I try to find new ways to say it. Passing, they're ranked 11th. Not first, they're first in overall yards. Now here, ponder this thought. If San Francisco is ranked 11 in passing yards per game, and they're ranked first in ninth in rushing yards per game. So you have 9 and 11. How are they averaging the most yards per game? Well, it's because Kyle Shanahan is a genius. So they're good at running it and they're good at passing it. They will always stay balanced, but Kyle Shanahan is going to take what the defense gives them and then he's going to exploit it. It could be running the ball. They could have a day where they just go out there and they're like, they can't stop the run. If they stop the run, all of a sudden you see the passing yards get a lot of attention. But no matter what they face, they end with the most total yards out of any team in the NFL. And to me, that is a clear sign. Not the first rushing or the first passing, but the first in total yards. That's a really good head coach that is exploiting defenses week after week after week. And San Francisco is a very unique team out of all the teams that are in the playoffs right now because they do have a quarterback that was picked with the last pick in the last round who only has 7 games under his belt. But it doesn't seem to matter. It seems like the 49ers are their best version of themselves. The real question is, does Brock Purdy have a human moment? And does he come back down to earth? Does he show some signs of being interrupted by Micah Parsons? Does that pass rush of Micah Parsons, who is getting to the quarterback, 30% edge pass rush win rate. He's got a 30% edge pass rush win rate, which is number 1 in the NFL. Nick Bosa, I think, was at number 9 or somewhere around there. So is that Micah Parsons rush going to change anything about this, offense, or is it just business as usual for Kyle Shanahan? I'm going to say business as usual, and the 49ers win. And a lot of people have this game being really close. I'm going to take the 49ers by 10.
Oh my God. 49ers by 10. Look, he's stretching because he knows how crazy
the numbers don't lie. Hold on a second. I got a D for the P.
Numbers don't lie. Oh, by 10. Kyle thinks by 10 the 49ers are going to win. And I want to wait to talk about this game. I want to wait till he gets back to talk about this game. So I'm going to hit the comments here. We got Eric in the chat. What's going on, Eric? What's up, man? How's it going? And we got his predictions: Bills, Cowboys, Jaguars, and Giants. It's a little different from ours so far, but we'll see how it goes. All right, Kyle. I told everybody I wanted to wait for you to get back for me to say this. I'm just going to start. No. Cowboys are going to win this game.
There are a lot of people with that pick. There are.
You said it right here towards the end of your prediction. Does Brock Purdy have a I was picked last moment, a human moment? 7 games under his belt, like you said. Does he finally kind of come back down to earth, like you said? I think this is the game where Brock Purdy, I don't want to say just crumbles or anything, just crumbles under the defense, but he is going to struggle quite a bit. This defense for the Dallas Cowboys is very, very good. Just said Micah Parsons gets to the quarterback 30%, 32%, whatever it was. They're coming off one of their best playoff games in forever since they've won a Super Bowl in the last 30 years. That's one of their best games ever. And yes, we can kind of point to the fact that it's the Tom Brady Bucks and they've sucked all year pretty much, right? But that doesn't necessarily matter. Because look where the Giants are at, and they played one of the teams with the best records in the NFC and with home field advantage with the weapons that the Vikings had. The Cowboys just came off beating Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Godwin, guys on the defense, Barrett, and the big Polynesian guy or Hawaiian guy, whatever.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Paella, something like that. This Cowboys team, their confidence is at 10 right now, man. The only thing that worries me, and it kind of goes for both teams here, is the quarterback play. Will Dak be the Dak that you saw last week against the Bucs? Will Brock Purdy be the Brock Purdy that you've seen over his last few games, the last few weeks in the NFL as a starter? I think, it kind of goes into my fill in the blank here, but the winner of this game will have the best quarterback play from one of these guys. It's going to have the best one. And you could look at both of these teams. They seem to be one of the more evenly matched matchups in these playoffs. I would even go as far as to say they're the most evenly matched two teams in the playoffs. Like I said earlier, when we were kind of previewing this game, you got big names on both sides of the ball here. Both sides of the ball here. You got Nick Bosa on the defensive side, Micah Parsons, got Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. You got Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy. Like, these are big names, and these guys perform at the highest level, and they have for the last 2-3 years now. So that's why I think that it really depends on how Dak plays. It really depends on how Brock Purdy plays. But I'm taking the Cowboys to win this one on the defense, based on the defense and how good they've been playing. I think for the playoffs, Michael Parsons is going to step it up. Brock Purdy's going to have one of those moments where he's just like, oh shit, what's going on? And Shanahan, he's going to try to go more towards running it. But I think at the end of it, it's going to be the Cowboys going to the NFC Championship game. Kyle loves it.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem, though, with that pick, because that is a side. That is a real side, and you can verify that. You believe it. But here's my problem with it, because I thought about that too. Of course, I want to be right with my picks. I don't want to be, like I said, I wanted the Bengals to win, but I got the Bills, right? Like, I can do that. My problem with this one is that even if Brock Purdy does have a human moment, does CMC have a human moment? Does Deebo Samuel have a human moment? Does Brian Ayuk have a human moment? What about George Kittle? Are they all having human moments? Because when I look at what they do offensively, they don't ask him to do crazy things. It's not Patrick Mahomes, no look snake eyes. These are very easy plays to be made. So I understand the Brock Purdy's got to come down to earth, but he's not really doing anything when you watch the games. He's just getting the ball to his playmakers, and they're doing it. Like, it almost like the pressure's on the playmakers and the weapons and not on Brock Purdy. It's almost like he's playing with house money. He doesn't feel pressure because they have a great offensive line. Trent Williams is going to be in the Hall of Fame, and he's going to be lined up with Micah Parsons. That's going to be a great battle, but by no means is Micah Parsons he's going to win some of those, and I'm sure Micah Parsons will be a factor. Sack, all of that. But overall, is it going to be enough to shut down the most explosive offense in the NFL? Because if Dallas is playing Kansas City, right? And now here's a little way to see if you're biased or not. Would you be able to say that the Chiefs would have a bad day at the office when the 49ers, in a large sample size now, are averaging almost 10 more points per game than the Kansas City Chiefs? So what is a bad day at the office? Okay, they don't score 41, they score 35, or is it 28? I mean, we could keep going down, but at some point you're like, hey, I mean, even if they have a bad day, couldn't they score? Like, I don't even think they had their best game against Seattle. They were losing at halftime and they scored 41. So,
and that was largely dependent on Brock Purdy and how he played in the first half too. So you got to look at that too. So if he has a bad game overall, that first half against Seattle was like,
it wasn't really Brock Purdy. I mean,
he looked pretty bad. He looked pretty bad in that first half.
No, he just missed a couple throws that only the coach would have known. Like, it wasn't like on camera you were like, whoa, Purdy. Like, it wasn't like noticeably bad. It was just a close game, but but that was also another thing. He overcame it in the second half, but it's hard to even say that it was like a total I just felt like he needed to calm down a little bit. And that's why I said this first quarter of the game, I think the Cowboys could win. And if you're a 49ers fan, I think it's important that you don't panic. Just plan on it. Plan on being down 3-10, 7-10, whatever it is, 10-0 in the
Yeah.
first quarter. But know that this is a team that their second quarter, their third quarter, I mean, this is a team losing at halftime, then they win by almost 21 points.
Yeah.
You're losing at halftime with less than 17 points and you finish with 41. I understand Dallas's defense is a lot better. I don't think they score 41, but I do think that even if the pressure does get to Brock Purdy, if I'm Kyle Shanahan, and of course he's going to do this because he's a genius, the first couple plays of the game, Brock Purdy's not going to have, there will not be enough time to sack Brock Purdy. The designs will be, CMC in a slot running a slant, designed to get him the ball in 1 second. And eventually that kind of stuff takes a toll because you get CMC, we saw him run that slant, and then he ran 30 yards downfield. You're able to get the ball out to people that are playmakers, those weapons. After they make their move, they're running 30 yards downfield. These guys, Micah Parsons, they're chasing him. They're chasing these people. So then you get them kind of playing back. And then, CMC can run the ball. Now he's running the football. And you saw the holes in that game. It was like when CMC ran through holes you and I could run through. They're huge. And I don't know, even though the Cowboys beat the Bucks, I just don't know how you could get to. I just feel like everyone's fallen for it. I really do. I really feel like the world's kind of just fallen for it.
But I mean, I was gonna say you see the competition that the 49ers have gone against. Was Seattle's defense really that good? They couldn't have been that good if they were giving up the holes they were to CMC. Exactly. So they're trash. So we can look at that matchup and say,
the Bucks are. So are the Bucks.
You're right. So are the Bucks, but the Cowboys have also had a really good season, a consistent season as far as offense. Now, Dak, look, it's really up to Dak. He was hurt at the beginning of the season for a few games. That's why I think the quarterback play, whoever plays better at quarterback is going to win this game. But I mean, the 49ers, the last few games, especially with Brock Purdy, didn't play the best teams. I think the best team they played was the Chargers, maybe, in those 5 weeks or whatever it was that they played.
They played the Dolphins with Tua.
But they played the Dolphins with Tua.
Yeah.
So then that was probably their best game.
Destroyed them.
Yeah, and that was probably their best game too. But didn't Tua also have a concussion that game? I think that was the last time Tua played.
No, Jimmy G got hurt in the second play of the game and left with the 11:45.
Oh, is that it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, 11:45 in the first. Brock Purdy came into a 0-0 ball game, and they wiped the floor with the Dolphins. It's just, if it happens, it'll be surprising to me. One thing that people don't know, the 49ers, their pass defense is actually ranked 20th, giving up 223 yards per game.
Wow.
While Dallas's pass defense is 8th. So what that tells me, if you have the number 1 scoring defense but 20th pass defense, this is a really, really good red zone team that keeps scores low even when people get down into the red zone. So I will say this, the winner of this game will score the most touchdowns in the red zone.
I like it.
Red zone.
It. So they have
the red zone has to equal points. You can't go down there and get 3. The winner of this game will get to the red zone and they will turn it into a 7.
Yeah.
And can they kick the ball? I mean, can they even kick the ball? That's something we have to talk about. I'm not letting you off that easy.
So this is actually one thing that I found really hilarious was, I'm sure you've heard it, and I'm sure everybody listening or watching heard it too. They brought in a kicker, and I forget his name was like Vizcaino, whatever it was. This guy missed a ton of kicks. It was either this year or last year. And I think the move is like from McCarthy was like, you're better than, he was telling Brett Maher or whatever. He was basically proving to Brett Maher that, hey, you're better than at least somebody. You're trying to just get his confidence up at this point. You know what I mean? So he brought in that Vizcaino guy to at least prove to Maher that, hey, you have done a lot during this season and you're better than this guy, let me get your confidence up by signing this competition in quotes, right? It's always going to be Mayer. It's going to be Brett Mayer in kicking field goals, kicking extra points. That week was absolutely terrible. Luckily for him, Dak Prescott in the offense is able to get to the end zone a lot. So I don't necessarily think it's going to happen again. Although I feel like if this comes down to a game-winning field goal, Brett Mayer may or may not make that.
Well, the CBS published an article like 3 hours ago, and this is what they say in quote, "Last year, the 49ers were the underdog, and I picked them to upset the Cowboys. This year, I'm doing the opposite. So this is a revenge game, but that's not what I wanted to say. Only 4 rookie quarterbacks, Sean King, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, and Mark Sanchez, have ever made it to a conference title game, and I don't think Purdy is going to be the 5th. And I will say to that quote, a lot of people didn't think Brock Purdy would throw the 3rd most passing yards in 49ers history in his last game. So remember that list of like records he shattered?
Yeah.
I just don't know how people are pretty much like, yeah, I don't think he's going to join the list with Joe Flacco and Mark Sanchez. It's like, why? Why is that so crazy? Like, you act like we're joining these like elite lists of people like Mark Sanchez.
And if you notice, at least from what I've seen from what I remember from Sanchez, Flacco, and Roethlisberger, those defenses they had were phenomenal defenses.
Oh,
that was when Mark Sanchez was playing quarterback. I think that's when Revis Island was a thing. Remember that? Remember Revis?
Yeah. Revis Island.
That they
Brett
had
Favre.
phenomenal defenses.
A year after Brett Favre.
Yeah. They had phenomenal defenses. And look, Purdy has that luxury as well. He's got a great defense in the 49ers. They are great. But I think...
You think he's going to be nervous?
Oh, man, dude. Here's the thing, right? Like, I'm looking at the defenses he was playing, or what, the last few games. Cardinals, not a good defense. Raiders, not a great defense either. Commanders, that was probably one of the better defenses he played. The Seahawks, no, and you saw what he did in the playoffs as well. The Bucks have a decent defense, and the Dolphins, not great. So, I mean, he hasn't played against the talent I think that the Cowboys have as far as defense. I think they're just going to make him a little nervous. I think he's going to struggle. He's definitely going to struggle, I think. And that's why I think the better quarterback play from one of these teams is going to ultimately win the game and go on to the NFC Championship. I think Brock Purdy is going to go up against the best defense he's seen in the NFL against the Cowboys this weekend.
Yeah, and four out of the 8 picked the Cowboys. So split in half.
Split down the middle. Yeah, split down the middle. And even here, 1 out of 2 picked the Cowboys.
Oh, my God. And then 6 out of 8 picked the Giants to beat the Eagles. So take that.
Really? Can you imagine a Giants-Cowboys NFC Championship? That's insane. Now, what I will say about the Giants, though, the 2 years they won the Super Bowl with Eli Manning, they were like a barely above 500 team. Like one time
7-9. They were under
7-9. The other year they were like 10-6, 9-7, something like that. Like they weren't anything outstanding or anything, right? So I mean, they have a good coach in Dable, so who knows how it's going to go.
That is what a lot of Giants fans are comparing this year to. And it's like, as a person that was at the game, the NFC Championship game in that year, I can tell everybody the only reason the Giants won that game is because that particular game was too cold for football. Like it was the second coldest game ever, like negative 56 wind chill. And like it got to a point where like nobody could do anything. Everyone's eyes were watering. Like, I mean, you can't really see, your face is burning. But they won with that last kick. Yeah. It was like 10-13. It was like, okay. I mean, they won, but it was just kind of like, I would have liked to see that game in a dome or something.
Yeah. Or from, my warm couch on TV.
Oh, yeah. My mom forgot our tickets, and I ran back to the car to get them. And when I came back, my face was swollen, like damaged, just from running to the car to get the tickets and coming back.
Oh, my God.
I couldn't feel my mouth. I couldn't talk. Like,
yeah.
Dude,
you're talking like this.
And I think the coldest game this week is going to be in Arrowhead. It's going to be cold. Let me see what the actual temperature is. Kansas City Chiefs kickoff temperature. It's going to be, see, it's supposed to be freezing. Oh, it's going to snow.
Oh,
It's going to
wow.
snow.
Nice.
Something to bring up that Jacksonville's not going to be used to.
Not at all. Not at all. Not down in sunny Florida, that's for sure.
Arrowhead Stadium in Missouri may begin as light rain with temperatures in the upper 30s, but by the evening, and as temperatures cool to the 30s, there's a decent chance that the rain will transition to snow. The bulk of the snow will fall overnight, but there may be some snow towards halftime, towards the end of the game. Something to consider.
There you go. Definitely something to consider. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence has ever even played in snow. College, anything? I don't think so, right?
Clemson? No, I don't think so.
No, yeah, I don't think so. We'll see.
He's a winner, though. He's going to be there.
Yeah, he will definitely do what he can. So that is our predictions. We both have the Chiefs beating the Jags, the Eagles beating the Giants, the Bills beating the Bengals, and we're split Cowboys 49ers. I'm taking the Cowboys. Kyle is taking the 49ers. And let's get to this comment here from KC. I believe that if Dak Prescott plays like he did against the Jaguars, we will see one of the best playoff games ever. There you go. There you go. See, even I don't know where KC stands on this game, 49ers Cowboys, but it's looking like the Cowboys are going to give Jerry Jones his death wish pretty much here, or his before death wish. So we'll we'll keep an eye on that game. That game's going to be fun.
I'm going to change.
No.
I'm gonna change. I didn't mean to be dramatic.
You can't change.
I've been trying to say all season. Like every time I go exactly with analytics, it's wrong. Analytics can only take you so far. And when I say that
the Bills,
the weirdest AFC Championship game is about to happen, it's going to be the Bengals and the Jaguars.
No, it's not. No way. Oh my God. Now I got to edit the message. Damn it, Kyle.
Me, Joe Burrow. He's wow. You know what? You know why? I'm going to tell you why. It's because I said every reason why the Bengals should not even have a chance. But I forgot to mention the one thing that's most important is that Joe Burrow is a winner, and winning doesn't, depend on whether he's got an O-line or not. No, he'll find a way to win. He did it last year with the worst O-line in the NFL. Why can't he do it again? He's been there. He's been in this position. And why would Joe Burrow not be able to get the job done? Josh Allen, he hasn't won as many playoffs games as Joe Burrow. He's more experienced in this scenario, honestly.
Yeah, that experience plays a huge factor, especially, he was in the Super Bowl last year. You said it again, right? Like he had a terrible O-line and he made it because he was able to win. He found ways to win, like you said. So we'll see how it happens. But Kyle when people zig, Kyle zags. So I like that.
I just have to go with my heart here. The analytics are one thing, but the Chiefs are beatable because the Broncos literally almost beat them week 16. And it was like, I don't believe the Chiefs are this powerhouse of a team. I really don't. When I look at their defense, I'm like, yeah, Trevor Lawrence could score 35 on that defense. I really do think so.
Okay. I'll buy it for now. But all right, that was our predictions. Kyle literally just changed it last second. That's fine. He's going with his heart, though. I love it because that's what I love about, I guess, just kind of going with your heart, going with the gut feeling. I look at the numbers. I look at stuff like best ranked defense, best ranked offense, shit like that. But man, like sometimes you just got to go into these games, into these predictions, whatever, with like, what's the emotion telling you and what is your gut telling you? Like, who's going to win this game, right? So I like that. I like going with that most of the time anyway. So, and that's why the Bears suck. But let's move on. Let's move on to the final segment of today's show. We're gonna do our home field power rankings for this divisional round. So pretty much gonna go through every game and see who's got the best home field advantage out of all four of these divisional games. Give you guys a little something extra here at the end of the divisional round prediction show. So the home fields we have are Arrowhead. What's the Eagles? CenturyLink, something like that. CenturyLink Stadium. The Bills.
Yeah.
I don't fucking
Something
know.
like
Yeah, the Bills and the 49ers. So we got the Chiefs, Eagles, Bills, 49ers. Kyle, you want to just go like 4-1 here?
Yeah, so my number 4 is actually going to be the 49ers. It's going to be home field advantage, but there's some of these teams that are in another league. 49ers are going to win, in my opinion, because of how much talent is on the field, not necessarily how loud the crowd is.
Yeah, no, I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to go 49ers as well as my number 4 in the power rankings. A lot of people were just like, when they were talking about the Seahawks, they're like, man, that home field advantage really got to the Seahawks. And I'm like, no, it didn't. Like, I don't think the 49ers stadium, Levi Stadium, I think it is, has ever been one of those home fields where it's like, you don't want to go play the 49ers in San Fran or wherever the fuck it's like.
You think of like nice weather. You think of like, a bunch of rich people like in a box, like just enjoying the game. Like you don't really think about like, like the Bills smashing tables. It's like
exactly. I don't think their what do you call it? Their tailgates or anything as crazy as the Bills or a lot of teams really when you kind of think of it. So yeah, so I'm going 49ers number 4. For my number 3, I think I got to go. I mean, I don't think this is really that hard for power rankings, but I think I'm going Eagles. Now, their fans are rowdy. Their fans are rough. It's Philly. City of brotherly love that doesn't really show you that brotherly love unless you're from Philly. And even if you are from Philly, sometimes, you guys hate each other. So
like everybody everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Cause you got Pittsburgh there, right? So I'm going with CenturyLink or whatever it's called. The Eagles at number 3. The fans, awesome. Somehow it doesn't necessarily translate into the home field advantage that the Eagles want most of the time, comparably to all these other teams. So I'm going number 3 with the Eagles.
Yeah, and I'm just doing this week, to be clear. This isn't necessarily an all-time list. But I'm going to go for this week, number 3, Buffalo. And it was a really tough list, like very tough. I will say there's been years that in the divisional round, there's some places that you could go that aren't that big of a deal. This year's not really like that. You look at the people that have home field advantage and it's like, damn, that's going to be tough. This is no easy feat, but I'm going to go with the Bills Mafia getting drunk and slamming on tables and stuff. But I watched that game that they just played. They're not the best game, right? Against the Dolphins. And I saw that when the Dolphins kept the game close, the crowd really did like dwindle down. Like they didn't stay in the game when it was close or when they were losing after that fumble 6 happened. And because of that, I got the Buffalo at 3. I think it's important that the crowd keeps its juice when you're down in the game.
All right. Yeah, I can agree with that. And the same, like how you were saying, I don't think they're necessarily in the game the entire time. You think of like the Seattle Seahawks in the 12 and their stadium out here in Seattle, like it gets stupid loud sometimes. And it's just like, wow, like throughout the whole game, it's that loud.
Should we jump to 1 so that we don't just do process of elimination?
Yeah, let's just do that. Number 1, the Chiefs.
You got the Chiefs? Oh,
wait,
why you got the Chiefs?
Not the Bears. The Bears are number 1.
Why let me hear why you have the Chiefs though, number 1.
What do you mean? Why don't I have the Chiefs? It's Arrowhead. It's Arrowhead. It's insane in Arrowhead. The fans love the Chiefs. It's Mahomes. No matter what, they're in on it too all the time. Just like you said, this week is going to be huge with the snow, with the fans. They know Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback they've ever had in their entire franchise. They know this team is so good, and they're gonna probably start, going absolutely insane in this game. I think they can maintain it throughout the entire game, and the Jags are going to have a really tough time with not only the snow and the actual Chiefs team, but with the fans as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I mean, Kansas City is going to be it's one of the most difficult places to play in the NFL, no doubt. But my number one is I got to go with Meek Mill, baby.
No way.
Meek Mill's gonna be
number
there.
one.
Oh,
again?
I just think, man, when that crowd is going ham, and they will be, because the Eagles, let's see, they're not only hosting this playoff game, but they're playing the Giants. So it almost feels like for the Eagles, it's gonna. I know we talk about, oh, it's gonna be close, but the Eagles are looking at this like we could smash a team. We could literally just like beat the living crap out of a team and get into the NFC Championship game. What time is this one being played? Let me see. I believe it's being played at 8:15 at night in Eastern time. So
that's right.
So you got the lights on, the only game on TV, Meek Mill there. The president might go. I don't know. It's going to be insane. We saw what happened when they had a similar thing for a Packers game on Sunday night. It was literally goosebumps watching it. I was like, wow, yeah, there's no way they lose this game. Now it's the playoffs. There's there's a level higher that I'm not even aware of, and I'm excited to sit back and watch it happen.
I like the pick. I do. Meek Mill, man, he does bring that energy, and I love it. But I'm still going Arrowhead number one, and Casey agrees with me. Casey agrees with me. Arrowhead number one for me with the cold snow versus that Florida team, the Jags. KC, not to be confused with Kansas City, but he is a KC fan, so I got Arrowhead number one. I had Bills number two. Bills Mafia is amazing. I love it. Their tailgates, their tables, they're everything. The Bills are special. The Bills are special. The Bills fans especially.
I got the Chiefs at 2 for all those reasons. It is insanely tough place to play, even though they copied the tomahawk chop from Florida State, like just totally stole it.
Did they?
Yeah, Florida State was doing that for decades before the Chiefs started doing it. And
that's true.
The Seminoles actually have people from the Seminole Tribe on their board of staff, so it all makes more sense. But whatever.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are going to be loud, and it's going to be cold, and they're playing a Florida team like KC pointed out. So for all those reasons, I'm going to have them at number 2. But Meek Mill. If you could have one rapper come out pregame, it's like maybe Kendrick Lamar and Meek Mill,
just gets you hyped, dude. Hyped.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't get too hype and just start whiffing. You get too emotional sometimes, and you're like throwing passes into the ground. You're just like, all right, calm down.
Just like, is it what is it when you like work out arms and then you go play basketball and you just completely just miss the bait, whatever
That's
it is.
That's a great example.
Yeah. But all right, that was our those were our segments for this episode. Kyle, right now we have 3 different outcomes out of the 4 games. So we'll see
more
who's
exciting.
Right. It is much more exciting. Much more exciting. The only one we really agree on is the Eagles beating the Giants. And like you said, with Meek Mill coming in doing pregame, it's going to be absolutely insane. Absolutely insane in that stadium. So that's what we got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's stream. We appreciate all you guys in the comments. We had Matt, we had Unseen Pets, KC, Jinja, and our boy Eric in the chat. So we appreciate all you guys watching and hitting us up here on the chat. If you guys want to follow us or if you want to follow Star 6 Media on Twitter, right up there at _ Star 6 Media. Kyle's getting it right. Kyle's not fucking up as much anymore.
The opposite. It's the opposite.
Kyle, where can they follow you on Twitter?
Follow me at FTBLONLY podcast for all my retweets. I got a lot of good stuff in there. Tom Brady's last sentences from his last press conference, all the goodies. Go ahead and follow so you keep up with everything we're doing here.
Yep, and you can follow me at And Now Rick on Twitter. No more Bears games, so I'm probably just not. I'm barely even tweeting. I'm probably going to be tweeting about the Bulls games. So, if you still want to follow me for football stuff, I'm going to be retweeting a lot of football stuff, especially with the divisional playoffs, NFC Conference Championship, Super Bowl, all that good stuff. We're gonna keep it exciting for you guys. And if you guys want to follow the Star 6 Media page everywhere else, you can follow us at Star 6 Media on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and Facebook. And while you follow us there on Instagram, go check out some of the other shows. You got EAFP with Eric talking soccer, Big League Chicago with myself and a couple of the other guys talking all Chicago Big League sports, JCA sports, going over the national sports media, 3 Up, 3 Down for your baseball needs, Sports Strip Live for boxing, fighting, anything violent sports, and then Slot Shot for your hockey needs. So go follow us and go check out all the other shows, subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. But yeah, Kyle, great episode today, brother.
Great episode. Just a little reminder, in 16 hours and 41 minutes, we're going to have the stream going, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, obviously, don't watch the game anywhere else. Like, come watch it with us.
Yeah, and get everybody else to watch it with us as well.
Exactly. We got to go in here together. We may witness some history. Who knows? Every time we get together for a stream, it seems like the Jags come back from 27. The Vikings come back from 33. I mean, there's just been some like great moments that I'm glad are recorded.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. But yeah, catch our streams this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We will be getting drunk, watching football, maybe get some wings in the streams. We'll see what happens.
Jalapeno poppers, maybe.
Jalapeno poppers. Kyle's going to go to the bathroom at least 150 times.
No, I got the bucket.
All right, we're each getting piss buckets. Poop, possibly. We'll see. All right.
No, that's going to be a hard no. All right, man.
All right. Well, again, thank you everybody for joining us, and we will see you next time. See ya.